All right, YouTube, welcome back. This is Coach Tommy. Today we got another informative video for you guys. We're going to be talking about how to set up a fat loss diet, how to figure out how many calories you should be eating, and what your macros should be. So let's go on into this thing. First things first is we're going to talk about how to figure out your total calories. So I'm going to do some math along with you guys so you guys can kind of figure this thing out. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take your total body weight and we're going to multiply that times 12. Okay, so I've just found 12 to be a really good sweet spot number where it's more of a moderate diet. It's not super aggressive, but it's still going to show some really quality results, okay, in those first few weeks, which is what we want. All right, because it's really good for sustainability. So let's just say you weigh 200 pounds. You're going to multiply that by 12, and that equals 2,400 calories per day. Okay, another example, let's say you weigh 100 pounds, which is obviously very light, but doesn't matter, times 12, which equals 1,200 calories per day. Okay, so we figured out your calories. Okay, we're going to use the example of 2,400. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is figure out what your protein, your carbs, and your fat should be. In my opinion, unless you are severely overweight, your protein should be around 1 gram per pound of body weight. So, what I mean by that is if you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to eat 200 grams of protein. Okay, so for this example, the person weighs 200 lbs, right? 200 pounds. So they're going to eat 200 grams of protein per day, right? Because 200 times 1 is 200. Okay, now, as for fats, okay, I like people to eat somewhere around zero point 0.4 of their body weight for fat. Okay, so I'm just using my calculator. 200 pounds times zero point 0.4 puts it at 80 grams of fat per day. So once again, what you would do is you would take the person's body weight, which is 200, you would multiply it by multiply it by zero point 0.4, and whatever number you get is the amount of grams you would eat per day. All right, so 80 grams is what we got for that 200-pound person. Now, for some people, they might say this is a little much. Some people might like to go lower and eat more carbohydrates. That's fine. I like this for hormonal reasons mainly. I've just found that having a little bit more fat in people's diets tends to allow them to sleep better, joints feel a little bit better. They think cognitive thinking is a little bit better. So that's why I do that. After the initial kind of like after once we come to our first plateau, that's when I'll take fat down and leave carbs the same. But from a starting point, this is where I like people to be. I didn't really touch on the protein, so I guess I will really fast. I like 1 gram per pound of body weight. The literature shows we could eat somewhere around 0.8 instead of 1, so that would be 160 instead of 200 in this case. I think it's just a safe bet putting yourself at 1 gram per pound of body weight, simply because protein is going to be responsible for helping us maintain muscle mass while we're dieting. So having a little extra is fine. And even if you don't use the protein, it'll turn into carbohydrates via gluconeogenesis. So at the very least, it's just turning into a carb source. So why not have a little bit more of it? Also, protein's a little more satiating, which is a little bit one of the main hiccups when you're dieting is that you're hungry. So by eating foods that satiate you a little bit more, I think it's great. If you find that you have digestion issues eating that much protein, then sure, drop it down a little bit, but never go lower than zero point 0.8 times your body weight. Okay. So now what we have to do is for carbohydrates, okay, it's going to be the calories that are remaining after your fats and protein. So we have to do some math now. Okay. So here's some important information to know is that every gram of protein is 4 calories. Every gram of fat is 9 calories, and every gram of carbs is 4 calories. So that we're going to use those numbers to help us figure out how much food we should be eating. So we know that every day we get to eat 2,400 calories. Cool. Now, the next thing we know is that we're going to be eating 200 grams of protein per day. And we also know that every gram is 4 calories. So for protein, okay, we are going to do 200 times 4, okay, 200 grams times 4 calories per gram equals 800 calories from protein. So every day, right now, we know we're eating 800 calories from protein. The next thing we're going to do is fat. Okay, we know that we're eating 80 grams per day, and every gram is 9 calories. So we are going to do 80 times 9, which I believe is 720 calories, but I will double check with my calculator just to make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. Yes, I'm correct, 720 calories. All right, so every day so far, we are eating 800 calories from protein, 720 from fat. The next thing we have to do is add those two together. So we add those two together, and we are eating a total of 1,520 calories from P plus F, protein and fat. All right, now we are allowed to eat 2,400 calories, and we are only eating 5,200. The remaining calories will come from carbohydrates. So how do we figure out how many grams of carbohydrates we should be eating? We do that by subtracting 2,400 minus 1,520. 1,520, that equals 880 calories. Why did you do that? Once again, we are currently eating this many calories per day. This is how many we're allowed. So we have to figure out how many are remaining, and then we get that number, which is 880. Now we need to convert these calories to grams. So we know that every 4 calories is 1 gram. So when we have 880 calories, we're going to divide it by 4, and that is going to give us the number of grams we get to eat in carbohydrates every day, which is going to be 220 grams of carbs. Boom. Okay, so this person's macros would be 200 grams of protein, 80 grams of fat, and 220 grams of carbs. Okay, and that's it, guys. It's as simple as that. Okay, really, really easy video on how to figure out your macros. You guys can do this yourselves and then figure out, okay, what foods can fit into my macros. And as long as you guys do that, you will 100% lose weight and be successful with that weight loss journey. Hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please click the like button, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you guys. Till next time, I'm out.